everybody. Now that we're in the water, we can kind of get a feel of our boat now. Let's feel the edges, feel what the paddle feels like. Another thing, make sure you check the water temperature. You don't want to be too shocked when you go underwater. So, first thing we got to talk about is actually what's called an edge. An edge is the part of the boat right here. The part that's just barely in the water. And that's what keeps you balanced from side to side. And what it's necessary to do when you first, especially when you first start getting into kayaking, is to find your boat's edge. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how to find a boat's edge. I'm going to line up with the camera so you can see it a little better. All right, I'm going to lean over until I feel the part where the boat wants to turn on over, right there. I'm going to use my paddle as a brace. I'm going to stick it out a little ways where I can push down and push my boat back over. So let's do it again. Go over until you feel the boat go over. Fight it back. You need to practice this a few times so you can figure out where the point is where you're going to get ready to roll back over. So, let's just say you are going to roll over now. What you need to get is to figure out what roll you prefer. And one of the easiest roll to use for beginners is called a C-to-C roll. And what you'll do, let's just say I'm underwater right now and I'm sitting here like this. I want to come to my right side, put my face down, and then come uncoiled, like so. Keep the paddle blade, you want to have it circling up and pushing back, because that sets you up for the next rule of thumb. When you're underwater and you're fixing to perform your roll, you need to make sure that your head is the last thing that comes up first. And I'll show you in a few minutes what it looks like when your head is not the last thing that comes up, when your head is actually the first thing that comes up, and it won't work. You cannot roll that way because it's physics. You have about 10, 15 pounds sitting right here, depending on how big your head is, but you have leverage here. So you can imagine, this is a lever with a weight on the end of it. It's easier to lift that lever up when you have the least amount of length to lift it. So, now we're going to talk a little bit more about paddling. You need to make sure, because when the first time you roll, you're going to be a little confused underwater. Things are not going to line up right. The way you think the paddle should go won't work. So you need to especially have a buddy, which I failed to mention in the safety briefing earlier. Cameraman Isaac, he is my safety buddy today. If there's something that happens to me, let's say I lose my paddle or I cannot get back over, I'll tap on the bottom of my boat and hopefully he'll come in and save me. If not, you can always pull your ripcord and come out.
10-4.
So, let's do a roll right quick. I'll show you just the basic C-to-C roll. We'll back up a little bit. Another big thing you need to check too before you go to roll is water depth. Plenty deep enough, my head's not going to be anywhere near the water or anywhere near the bottom. So, let's look at a roll. I'm going to put my paddle where I want to start at, right here. I'm going to go over, and I'm going to come right back up. When you come back up, as you can see, you're a little disoriented. I looked over that way because that's where I thought the camera was, but actually it's over here. So be ready to catch yourself, because especially when you're the first time you roll inside of a rapid, you're not going to be sitting on a nice little flat pond like this. So, C-to-C roll, it brings you right back up in a good paddling position. So, as I mentioned earlier, what happens when your head is the first thing that came up? I don't know if you can see it on that view, but my head came up last on that. So let's try to bring up my head first and see what happens. As you can tell, you have to bring your head up last. If you don't, you won't be able to get back over. And you're going to run into problems because then, after about 3 or 4 tries, you start to get a little panicked. So, always make sure that your head is the last thing to come up. Thank you, and I hope that y'all have learned a little bit about how to roll a kayak.